You find yourself dragging your feet. The sound of the sole of your boot making contact with the bone-dry earth beneath you rattles against your eardrum. The sound is worse than nails raking across a chalkboard. At least if you had a chalkboard, that probably means you're in a building, and buildings tend to mean water's nearby. The folks back in town warned you to prepare a bit more before heading out further west. But you're cocky. Always have been, probably always will be. Maybe you'll change your mind if you can make it back to town. Emphasis on the if. You think you're walking in the right direction back to town, but it's hard to tell when the sun has been beating down on you for hours. Your tongue feels like sandpaper in your mouth. You stopped sweating a while ago. This isn't good. You look to your left, then your right. You slowly blink and look back in the direction you were walking. Is that a cactus? You blink a few more times. Surprise and curiosity show plainly on your face. Maybe it's a mirage. It's already in the direction you were walking, so it doesn't hurt to check the thing out. You reach towards it, and thick, viscous blood forms on your fingertip as the spine of the cactus pricks you. Definitely real. You find yourself looking down at the base of the cactus. A gash is at the base of it, and you see a liquid slowly but freely building up and trickling down into a puddle at the foot of the plant. Desert ambrosia. By God, I might just be saved. You look up from your drinking. There was enough of the cactus juice to give you a single mouthful. The drink was surprisingly sweet. You look around and see cacti everywhere.
Well, I might be up a creek without a paddle.
The world starts to spin. You hear a strange noise coming closer to you. Sounds like dry sticks being rubbed together and the rattle of bones. A silhouette of a cat-like creature with two tails enters your vision just before everything fades to black. You probably shouldn't have drank that cactus juice. Hello everyone, and welcome to this episode of the podcast. We'll be learning about the Cactus Cat. The Cactus Cat, also known as Cactophelinus inebrius, is a mythical creature that has been reported in the American Southwest. The Latin name means cactus cat inebriated, roughly. Its physical description is that of a bobcat-like animal with thorn-like fur. The thorns are especially long and rigid on its ears. It has sharp, knife-like blades of bone that protrude from its front legs and a branched tail. Some art I've looked at shows the creature as having a greenish coloring to it, but none of the actual readings I've done of the creature mention that detail. So that might just be an artist twist on things. The cactus cat has been sighted in the southwestern desert, in states such as California, Nevada, New Mexico, as well as Arizona, particularly in the Prescott and Tucson areas. If you look at the book Fearsome Creatures of the Lumberwoods with a Few Desert and Mountain Beasts by William T. Cox, the cactus cat's territory also stretches to the valley of the lower Yaqui in Old Mexico and the cholla-covered hills of Yucatan. The cactus cat is a very elusive creature. Referring back to the book, it says,
"How many people have heard of the cactus cat? Thousands of people spend their winters in the great Southwest. It is doubtful, however, if 1 in 100 of these people ever heard of a cactus cat. To say nothing of seeing one sporting about among the cholla and palo verde. Only the old-timers know of the beast and its queer habits."
So what are these weird habits that they're referencing? Well, in short, cactus cats are alcoholics. These creatures are tailor-made for surviving in the deserts of the Southwest and can safely interact with the various cacti that inhabit those areas. They use the blades on their forepaws to slash at the base of giant cactus trees, causing sap to seep out of them. Similar to how we tap maple trees to get syrup, Cactus cats tap cacti to get their hands on that sweet, sweet juice. Once they begin tapping cacti, they make a huge lap of their territory and tap the cacti along their route. By the time they finish the loop, the sap of the first cacti would have fermented a bit into a type of mezcal that they greedily lap up. So yeah, they get hammered off of cactus juice regularly. They walk off in their drunken stupor, clacking their bony forearms and screaming with drunken happiness. Cactus cats are relatively passive creatures. They don't often attack humans, and any reports of one injuring a person was tied to the creature trying to affectionately rub up against them. But their attitudes may change if you mess with one of their cacti while they're drunk. Much like your father, they may get aggressive when intoxicated. The cactus cat belongs to a group of creatures known as the fearsome critters. These are creatures that belong to North American folklore and American mythology. Fearsome critters were an integral part of oral tradition in North American logging camps during the turn of the 20th century, principally as a means to pass time or as a way to haze newcomers. Lumberjacks traveling between camps would stop to swap stories, which eventually disseminated these myths across the continent. Many fearsome critters were simply the products of pure exaggeration, but a lot were used either jokingly or seriously as explanations for both unexplained and natural phenomena. Really, anyone traveling would be a good vehicle spreading these myths, not just lumberjacks. You come into a new place and the locals just talk about some weird creature as a plain matter of fact. There had to have been tons of people traveling west that just believed the stories at face value and passed it on to the next city where they stopped at. I mean, you wouldn't really have any reason to think the entire town was playing a prank on you. Surprise, they were. In some instances, more elaborate ruses were created using taxidermy or trick photography. A popular fearsome critter you may recognize would be the jackalope. Some possible explanations for the origins of the cactus cat could have simply been the misidentification of a mountain lion or bobcat. Maybe one of those big cats found themselves on the prickly end of a cactus, and someone just happened to see the huge cat with cactus spines sticking out of it. Boom, cactus cat. It's also possible the creature could have been thought up and used as a sort of teaching device. Hey, don't go out in the desert drinking cactus juice. But the lesson is dressed up in the fun and memorable story of the cactus cat. However, it is largely believed that the cactus cat is the product of a lot of people having fun and telling tall tales. Who's to say they never existed though? We have other animals that make their living getting absolutely hammered regularly. Pandas and koalas immediately come to mind. If you find yourself lost in the Sonoran Desert, make sure to give the cacti a good look. Keep your ears and eyes open. You wouldn't want to piss off a probably drunk cactus cat. I had a lot of fun learning about the cactus cat. It's got a great aesthetic. We have the Wild West, we have cats, we have alcoholism, a cat with alcoholism. It's just an awesome and fun story. And I can see why people in the past probably had a ton of fun sharing this with one another. That concludes this episode of the podcast. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you enjoyed it, then like, subscribe, and share the podcast with your friends. This is Myths, History, and D&D, and I hope you tune in next time.